While you were at Fleischer Studios, it wasn't just Gulliver's Travels that you worked on, but you also on other cartoon characters.
Oh, a lot more.
Such as,
yes,
like, Betty Boop. Max Fleischer began producing animated cartoons during the 1920s, in the silent era of motion pictures. One of the first endeavors in sound that he made was Betty Boop, the perfect roaring 20s flapper. Can you tell us a little bit how you started with Betty Boop?
Betty, you know, started off in the days of early sound, about 1929, I believe it was, 28, 29. She started off as a little puppy dog character in the animated cartoons. And a fellow that I worked with, a fellow named Grim Natwick, who later animated on Snow White and did the Prince and Princess on Gulliver's Travels. Grim took this little puppy dog character and he made the ears into earrings, and he made her curls a little prettier and gave her eyelashes and all that sort of thing, and a lot of curves. But Betty, anyway, evolved from a puppy dog into a very cute little cartoon character.
Didn't Betty Boop seem a bit risque to audiences in the 30s?
She did. And some of the things that I see today in her films, I wonder how they got away with them.
Moving on to another character you'd worked with besides Betty Boop was in Superman. In the late 1930s, Action Comics introduced the Man of Steel, Superman. Shortly after that, in September of 1940, Max Fleischer introduced the first featurette animation on the screen of Superman, another product of King Features. Technically and artistically, one of Fleischer Studios' most sophisticated cinematic achievements, Superman was enormously popular. It was a mixture of camera angles and dissolves and shot flows that made the cartoon dramatically effective. Now, Superman was less of a caricature, a cartoon character, and more toward real life, wasn't he?
Very realistic, yes. And when we came to animating Superman, it was discovered that a lot of the ace animators who could do a wonderful job animating Popeye or Betty Boop or any of the other characters, cartoon characters, when it came to animating Superman, they were a little off their expertise. Max got around that by having a sketch class for the animators and the assistant animators, and the drawing of Superman improved tremendously after that.
But you'd also mentioned to me earlier that the effects of action effects, explosions and things was quite a big deal on Superman cartoons.
There was so much action in the Superman cartoons, effects animation, that a separate department had to be made special for animators to animate things like volcanoes and bridges collapsing, buildings toppling over, floods and all sorts of disasters, and besides these mysterious rays that melted buildings and that sort of. That was all done by the effects department. A special group of artists. There were more artists than they were animators, really, but they were really gifted. A lot of the things that they did in the effects of the old Superman comics in those days have been copied year after year by other animators, and I don't think they have improved on them too much.
Yeah, they really do hold up. They look like fantastic effects for that when you consider when they were done.
Things.
There's another character you worked on, one of your favorites you mentioned, was Popeye. In 1934, Max Fleischer developed the King Features comic strip character Popeye with a definitive style that the public has come to know and love. Many cartoons in the 1930s were built around songs, and the Popeye cartoons were no exception. Popeye the Sailor Man set the theme for the Popeye animated characters for years to come. Now, this is your personal favorite character you worked on, is that right?
This is my personal favorite, yes, of all of the cartoon characters.
How'd you get started working on Popeye?
Well, I went through the process of inking and painting Popeye and in-betweening him until I got into the animation department, and then I got a chance to to take the little character and move him around myself, which is the creative part of the whole business, and that's the interesting part.
Yeah.
Popeye was always interesting to animate.
Why? Why do you feel that?
Well, the writers gave him all sorts of things to do. And, you could bend him into about any kind of shape that you wanted to and have him do just about anything, and there were no limitations.
He spread out his wings and the sunlight grew dim. He took me in his feet, but I ran on with him. Oh, the most remarkable, extraordinary fellow. The sailor.
On this sheet you have here, for instance, is this how you'd start, really, with the characters,
Yes.
basic?
This is what is called a model sheet, model chart. Every animator and every assistant animator had a model chart right on the pin to his desk so that we could keep the exact proportions of the character. If you notice, it's Popeye here is 5 heads tall. We measure them by the heads. And so every animator would keep him pretty much to these proportions. Otherwise, you might have an animator making him 7 heads tall or 3 heads tall, and you'd have quite a conflict there.
Yeah. You also have a animation cell of Popeye here that's already colored.
Yes. Popeye, of course, most always ended eating his spinach. That was the climax of the picture, and it was a very important part of the picture.
What do you think about the animation techniques they're using today? I mean, Disney's still putting out quite a bit of work. Disney animators are still working either for Disney or other studios.
Well, from what I've seen of it, they are doing some wonderful things in animation. Some animation that I have seen on the latest Disney pictures is good, if not better, than some of the old animation that was done on the classic pictures of Fantasia and Pinocchio and Snow White. But there is something about the spirit of the whole film, the whole animated film, that doesn't seem to me anyway, to satisfy as well as the old animated cartoons did. Whether it's the attitude that the animators have, that in the old days there was quite a bit of camaraderie between the animators, and they'd get together and they'd figure out things and figure out how to improve on the script and all that sort of stuff, how to put their own little personalities into it. I think the business is so organized today that that's not allowed. An animator gets a script and it's written out in black and white just what he is to do, and he has rough sketches perhaps. He's limited. He already starts off in a sort of a tight atmosphere, and I think that's it anyway. But as far as the general technique goes of present-day animation by studios like Disney's, I think it's very good, excellent.
Gordon, I want to thank you again for stopping by. You really taught me a lot about animation I didn't know, and I'm sure our viewers learned a lot too.
You're very welcome.
Thanks again. Until next time, this is Mike Wetzel. We'll see you later.